Hello. Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3523. Today's date is August 6, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 10:15 p.m. Alright, we directly jump into the psychological test. Okay, I'm actually giving the test. Okay, I complete the test of Interpersonal Relationship by Timothy Leary. I complete that test. Diagnosis of state of aggression, bus Derky test, I done that thing. Test of aggressiveness in relationship by A.S. Assinger, I also complete this test. By the way, I pass in all of those tests. Okay, yeah. Right now I'm actually giving the test of determine the level of empathy trends. I'm not really sure what is actually meaning of that, but let's go through it. Right, yeah. Okay, let's go. The question is, I like adventure book more than book about real people. I don't know, no, never, sometimes, often, almost, always, yes, always. Okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay, so question is actually about, do you like adventure book more than real people book? What's the real people book? Real people book means like that ki the people who actually kind of like something talk about something like like basically right now I'm actually kind of like reading Bible. Okay, yeah. Okay, by the way, these books are kind of like written by the people. Okay, yeah. um Basically this thing, adventure book means like that novel. Okay, Harry Potter are kind of like a novel, or like a half girlfriend, these are also kind of like a novel book. Okay, yeah. Or would you kind of like simply want to read such a book where real people can kind of like simply make those book like Atomic Habit. I didn't really read that book, but still I wanted to learn, but I will gonna be learn that book. Okay, yeah. But right now I'm reading the Bible. Okay, but the question is that ki would you like to read novel, or would you like to read any kind of like assembly the real people book? Regarding about novel, I haven't really read any kind of like assembly novel, so I'm not really sure that ki do I like novel or not. Okay, another thing is that ki probably right now I am really new at reading a book. Okay, like just almost like 6 months ago I started reading. Before that I haven't really read any of those books, nothing really at all. So probably is this thing na ki right now I don't really read that many books. Okay, yeah. And another thing is that ki usually I read the book that I own written the book. Like basically this is what is actually this thing na ki it's a very hard to explain. As I mentioned, I haven't really read book since my entire life. Okay, yeah, nothing really at all. And when I try to read some of the books, I just can't even like I don't know. I just kind of like simply just really difficult to understand and things like that. Okay, like basically a common book or kind of like let's just say Atomic Habit. Okay, yeah. Couple of days ago I went to my relatives and they have book Atomic Habit. I tried to read that book, but it just not getting me. Like basically the language and everything is like something that key I'm not really absorb that entire information, because the phrases and things and like basically I can't even understand. Okay, yeah. So how do I read a book? Usually what is actually this thing, the whatever book that I wanted to read, like let's just say Bible. Okay, yeah. I'm not reading the Bible like basically this thing. I'm not reading the kind of like something the actual Bible. Like basically what I did is that I kind of like something the put the Bible into chat GPT. Okay, yeah, make it easy. I put the prompt as a make it easy to read, make it easy to understand and things like that. Okay, so that I chat GPT actually convert the entire Bible into kind of like something in very easy language, so that I would kind of like something easy to understand regarding about every factor and things like that. Okay, yeah. So I kind of like somebody make the language as simple as possible as I can, so that I could read. Okay, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of like reading the Bible, because like I changed that thing. Like basically I also wrote the book regarding about the Bible too, not the wrote book. Like I didn't really wrote any single word. It just kind of like simply I simplify entire Bible through ChatGPT, through the artificial intelligence AI, and it's kind of like simply very easy to understand for every possible people. Like basically I put the prompt that key basically as a 10-year-old can understand this kind of like simply Bible, because the actual Bible is kind of like simply very 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 difficult to understand. Like probably yeah, that is too much very difficult to understand. Okay, I'm actually simplified in very very simple way in a bullet points and things like that. So basically I'm reading that book and kind of like somebody right now I'm kind of like taking a lot of information regarding about the Bible and things like that. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that okay, I'm not really good at reading right now, or maybe in the future I might gonna read or I might gonna consume lot of amount of book of data or things like that, but right now I am not really capable enough to understand all those English language and things like that, because the phrases that they mention over there is something that i I don't know, I'm not really understanding the way that I should supposed to be do. So that's why I'm kind of like a simplified the every book that I wanted to read, I just kind of like simplified it through the chat GPT and kind of like then I read that book. Okay, yeah. So regarding about this question, the question says that ki, which one book would you like to read, a novel or kind of like a real people book? Regarding about novel, I haven't really read any kind of like a novel, so I don't know regarding about anything at all. And real people book is also like I just started, like I haven't really read any kind of like a book. Like Atomic Habit I try to read, but it just like I read just couple of pages and it doesn't really get me that much. So probably this thing experience regarding about reading a book is almost 1%. Okay, yeah, 1% or maybe less than that. So what would you choose, like what do you say, like which book would you prefer? You have to choose between that. Okay, yeah. I would choose to be kind of like a something sometimes. Okay, I would sometimes I'm kind of like a read the novel, sometimes I kind of read kind of like a something the real people book. Okay, yeah, I'm not really sure, but this is the kind of like a only option that I would choose right now. Okay, yeah, because right now I don't really have that much kind of like some experience regarding about reading a book, but it's really essential to read a book. Okay, yeah, I try to kind of like a something habitual. I every day I decided that ki, like almost 6 months ago I tried to reading a book, and I kind of like make sure that I should supposed to read half an hour for every single day. Okay, I wanted to make that reading is a habit, and I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to do those things. Okay, yeah, but since I'm not really kind of like a simply that much very aggressive reader at the moment. Okay, yeah, so this is I would kind of like tell them sometimes I'm kind of like a read the novel, sometimes I kind of like a read the real people book. Okay, yeah. Next, adult children are annoyed by parental care. Adult children are annoyed by the parental care. Adult children are annoyed by parental care. You don't know, no, never, sometimes, often, almost, always, yes, always. Okay, I understand this question, but I wanted to understand this question a little bit better. Wait, why is not working? Working, na? Like, okay, yeah, right now is working. Okay, so let me understand this question. What is actually meaning? It says, वयस्कर बच्चे माता पिता की देखभाल से परेशान होते हैं. इज इट ट्रू? वयस्कर बच्चे माता पिता की देखभाल से, yeah, I think it's a true. Yeah, because like basically if my parents are kind of like taking care of me, what's a taking care of me? Taking care of me means like that ki, you shouldn't supposed to do this, do that, do this, or be study and things like that, or kind of like something like they try to control their child in much more possible way. So basically when the parents are trying to control their children's life, okay, yeah, like basically the teenagers and things like that, obviously they are really annoyed and things like that. So it's really true that they are really annoyed. So probably is this thing almost always. Okay, yeah, almost always adult children are annoyed by their parental care. Okay, yeah. Next, I like to think about a reason for success and failure for other. Okay, okay. Still, I need to understand this question a little bit better. Um, I understand, but it's just like I wanted to make it even more understand. Okay, दूसरों की सफलता और असफलताओं के कारणों के बारे में सोचना मुझे पसंद है सोचना मुझे पसंद करता है लाइक आई लाइक टू थिंक अबाउट other people kind of like a some success or kind of like a some failure and things like that. Are you that kind of like a person? Are you kind of like a something like that person who is kind of like a thinking about other people's success and failure? Yeah, somewhat. Okay, yeah, because why? I think that na ki basically is this thing not thinking like a basically is this thing like basically this is like just example. Okay, yeah. I think that na ki you have to be learn from your mistake too. Okay, that is really good thing. Okay, yeah. But the life is so expensive that you can't afford to make mistake every single time. So it is really essential to kind of like learn things from other people mistakes. Like what is actually those people what they kind of like did something mistake and how do I supposed to learn from that. It is really essential for ever. It is really essential. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki when other people get succeeded, you have to be think that ki why does that people are kind of like somebody succeeded, what that particular person did something special for make his life little bit successful or not. Okay, yeah. I like to think about that. I wanted to get the information about how that particular person gets succeeded. Okay, yeah. Failure is also really essential. Okay, yeah. Like I have to be think or I have to be know about why that particular person get fail regarding about what that particular person wants to achieve and he didn't really achieve that thing. So what makes kind of like a reason that he fails and things like that. So I wanted to know about that particular things too. Okay, yeah. So basically this thing when I know about those people, their success story, their failure story and things like that, I kind of like something understand that ki what should I supposed to do, what should I supposed to not to do, because it is really essential that ki we have to be learn from each other mistakes and success and things like that. Okay, it gives you kind of like somebody not only the opportunity but as also kind of like somebody think about other point of perspective. So I like to think about the reason for success and failure to other. Yes, always I think. Yeah, next, I prefer shows and documentaries about modern music. Yes, I prefer yes, I always prefer shows and documentaries about the modern music. Like basically I understand this question, but probably shows and documentary about modern music, like I don't really understand the why does they say modern music. Let me understand this question a little bit better. What exactly they say? आधुनिक संगीत के बारे में शो और वृत्तचित्र पसंद करते हैं. ओके, आधुनिक संगीत के बारे में like it's even more complicated. Okay, yeah. Like sometimes na Google Translator is a kind of like if you translate the text, they don't really understand the context behind what is actually statement is kind of like trying to tell them. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like somebody really fucked up with the Google Translate. Okay, they should supposed to be understand what is actually meaning of that. Okay, so probably let's just go chat GPT might be this kind of like somebody understand a little bit better. Okay, yeah. Okay, copy, then AI mode, then paste. Okay, yeah. I think that it kind of like a giving me little bit good result regarding about why is not loading. Okay, yeah. This is really fucked up, dude. Okay, sometimes I just load and it's not. Okay, yeah, but still, what I know about, like I prefer shows and documentary about the modern music. I prefer shows and documentary about modern music. Yes, I do prefer. Like I don't really understand what is actually meaning of this thing. Like basically is this thing that na ki if that particular question is kind of like a try to compare, like would you prefer kind of like a watching the shows and documentary about modern music or would you prefer to watch movies? So if they are kind of like a giving the comparison, that might be this maybe construction of this question is kind of like a little bit difficult, Probably. Okay, let me ask to the ChatGPT is kind of like giving me very proper answer regarding about every possible perspective. Okay, uh, explain in simple language. Okay, yeah. Okay, prefer shows and documentary about modern music. You like to watch TV shows, documentary, real life stories, and information video that are about today's music. This kind of like a music people are making, listening to now, like pop up, hip hop, and things like that. In simple word, you enjoy watching videos that talk about new music and modern artists. Yeah, probably. Like I like to enjoy watching those kind of like a documentary about the music and things like that. Like regarding about the music point of perspective, I listen the music. Okay, yeah. I I watched the documentary, but I didn't really watch the documentary regarding about the music. Okay, yeah. I watched the documentary regarding about the science and construction and kind of like all those scientific thing or Net Geo documentary or Netflix documentary. I watched those things. Okay, yeah. It kind of like giving me a lot of information regarding about every possible perspective. Music is not the kind of like a thing that I've watched till now. Okay, yeah. But if I watch any kind of like a some documentary, like did I watch any kind of like a some music documentary? I did watch. Okay, Justin Bieber kind of like a something movie, Never Say Never. Okay, is it music documentary? Probably, yeah. It's a music documentary. Is also regarding about the how they create the music, what is actually artist went through the all the possible ways and things like that. So, what would I supposed to say? Do I like? Yeah, I did like. I like. It's not the kind of like a things that I don't really like. So I like it. So yes, I always like. I'm not really kind of like say that I don't really like to watch any kind of like a music documentary. Yes, I like to always prefer to shows music documentaries. Yeah. Next, unjust reapproach of the patient or person with mental illness must be tolerated even if continues for a year. Oh my god. So it's a kind of like a something very hard to understand, but let me understand what is actually meaning of this question, what is actually they are trying to say. Okay, yeah. किसी रोगी या मानसिक रोग से ग्रस्त व्यक्ति के प्रति अनुचित निंदा को सहन किया जाना चाहिए, भले ही वह वर्षों तक जारी रहे. Oh my god. Even more complicated. It's legit complicated. Okay, yeah. Let me understand what is exactly it's kind of like a saying. Where is ChatGPT? Okay, yeah. Okay. The statement says unfair blame or criticism of patient or person with mental illness should be accepted even if it is goes for a year. In simple language, even if someone with a mental illness is wrongly blamed or insulted for a long time, people should just accept it. Okay, I can't understand. Can you? Yes, I am PLI. Simple in simple language. Okay, it kind of like a simple, like I understand this thing, but I wanted to make sure that kind of like a stuff that I am understand is exactly is it or kind of like a something really else. Why is not fucking working? Okay, okay, yeah, but still, what I'm trying to understand. Okay, what exactly is this thing? Even if someone with a mental illness is wrongly blamed or insulted for long time, people should accept it. Okay, if person with mental illness is wrongly blamed or insulted for long time, this idea is cannot correct or healthy. People with a mental illness deserve the respect and understanding and support, not to blame or mistreatment. unjust reapproach should not be tolerated, whether it is list or day. I am really not so sure. Okay, yeah. If someone, okay, yeah. If someone with a mental illness is blamed unfairly for long time, we should accept it. Should we accept it? Uh, okay, what exactly is this question? Okay, I am not really understanding this question. Or maybe the construction of the question is not a question, dude. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a statement, and you have to kind of like give the opinion regarding about what do you think about that particular statement. The statement says that if the person is a kind of like a mental person, okay, yeah. So how do you look to that mental person? I haven't really interact with anyone kind of like the person who has a kind of like a simply mental thing. Okay, I haven't really seen that. But what I'm thinking right now is that the society, the people who are kind of like looking at them in a very really really wrong way. Okay, yeah, and this is not really good thing. Okay, because uh, I don't know. It's not really good thing, dude. Okay, yeah, because probably is this thing na ki, but how do I suppose, like, okay, the statement is kind of like asking your opinion. Okay, yeah, that ki injustice approach of the patient or person with a mental illness must be tolerated even it is continuous for year. I still not understand this question. I am trying to understand, but okay, let me. Okay, what exactly is this thing? The image present the statement and multiple choice option related to the treatment of the individual of mental illness problem. In okay, the answer, the statement simplifies in a problematic and harmful approach to the individual with a mental illness. Tolerating injustice approach for the years is not um, compassion or ethical response. Instead of give the option. Probably is this thing na ki the image displays the question from the appraised mental illness and public health announcements. I just why I can't understand this question. Like what is exactly this thing? किसी मरीज या मानसिक रूप से बीमार व्यक्ति के अनुचित निंदा सहन की जानी चाहिए, भले ही वह वर्षों तक जारी रहे. मुझे पता नहीं, नहीं कभी नहीं, कभी कभी, अक्सर, लगभग हमेशा, हाँ हमेशा. I think that na ki what would I supposed to say? I don't know. Okay, yeah, because probably is this thing I did not understand this question properly. So giving any kind of like simply opinion regarding about this context or this thing is, I don't know. Okay, because the construction of the sentence is too much complicated that I can't understand this thing. So I would say I don't know. Even just kind word can help the sick person. Yes, always. Outsider should not interfere in the conflict between the two people. Yes, always. Older people are swift to take offense without much reason. Older people are swift to take offense without much reason. Still not really understand. Let me understand this question. What is actually kind of like somebody saying? Okay, let me translate. Why is not actually working? Is okay. वृद्ध लोग बिना किसी विशेष कारण के तुरंत नाराज हो जाते हैं. इज इट ट्रू? वृद्ध लोग बिना किसी कारण के, like older people are get kind of like a something I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. Like does people are older people are kind of like a get really offense without any kind of like some reason? I don't know. I think that I'm not really sure about this thing because I don't know. Yeah, at this moment, I don't know. Okay, yeah. When I listen to sad story as a child, I often cry. Did I cry? No, never. The annoyed state of parents affect my mood. Annoyed state of parents affect my mood. Is it true? Like basically, if your parents are fighting, how does you feel? Like, does you feel kind of like a wrong or things like that? At the moment, is not really affecting me anything at all, because I know that if the parents are fighting, I should supposed to be kind of like a, somebody be affected and things like that. I should supposed to solve their conflict and things like that. But I don't know, dude. Okay, usually I'm kind of like a somebody person that I don't want to involve in my parents' conflict or things like that. It just no. Okay, if they are fighting, just I am not taking anyone's sides, nothing really at all. I'm just kind of like only make sure that this conflict doesn't makes to turn it to be heated and things like that. Okay, yeah. So probably is this thing I am not trying to involve in when my parents are kind of like a something fighting and things like that. Okay, but the question is that does it really affect you? It's not really that affecting me probably. Okay, yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, it's a like is it really wrong? Like you should supposed to be really affected. Like when your parents is kind of like a fighting. Like it does really affect when I was child, but right now I'm not like basically is this thing na ki most of the time they are kind of like a fighting is because of kind of like a something that ki I didn't really get a job and things like that, and my parents are always in stress and things like that. So like basically 99% of my parents fighting is because of me. Okay, yeah. So probably is this thing that ki yeah. Okay. And you know my condition right now. I'm kind of like a somebody 31 living with my parents, not earning any money. So this is kind of like only one of the important reason. That's why my parents are kind of like a fighting with each other and things like that, and they put their pension stuff and things like that. So probably is this thing I should kind of like somebody be silence and things like that. Okay, yeah. But does it really affect? Sometimes it affect. Okay, sometimes it kind of like a change my mood, but right now I'm kind of like somebody control myself in such a way that I know that my future would be really good, really great. I just have to be keep doing the stuff I'm doing, and yeah. And these are kind of like simply really hustle mode. Okay, I just have to kind of like simply that face that hustle thing. Okay, so sometime it affect my mood, sometime it did not. So yeah. I am indifferent to criticize the address me. Indifferent. What is actually indifferent? Okay, let me understand what is actually meaning of indifferent. Let me translate. मैं अपने प्रति को जाने वाली आलोचना के प्रति उदासीन हूँ. मैं अपने प्रति जाने वाली आलोचना के प्रति उदासीन हूँ. Like basically is this thing I am kind of like a somebody affected by someone is actually criticize me probably. I am मैं अपने प्रति के why like a translation is even more complicated. माझ्यावर होणाऱ्या टीकेबद्दल मी उदासीन आहेत. Oh, okay. Like basically someone is actually criticize me. Am I being really upset? Okay. Is it true? Like is it actually happened? Like if someone is actually criticize me, does it upset you? Does it upset you? Yes, it is upset. Like basically is this thing na ki I think that na criticism is a really essential factor to involve. Okay, yeah. And I understand that ki like if I'm kind of like only criticizing whatever the way, that means it's kind of like a somebody opportunity to grow myself. Like I am not a kind of like a somebody person that I didn't really make mistake. I did make mistakes. Okay, yeah. So that's why people actually criticize me. So I wanted to make sure that ki like what is actually people are actually criticizing about. Like am I did something really wrong or things or something like that, or how do I supposed to be kind of like a somebody make sure that mistake shouldn't supposed to be happen. Okay, yeah. But does it really upset me? Yeah, it upset me definitely. Okay, someone actually criticized me, it does really upset me, but I have to be kind of like somebody understand that ki who is that person. Okay, like basically I'm not really upset by any random person who's kind of like criticize me. I'm not really that. Okay, yeah, like basically this thing, whoever that particular person, like basically this thing, now I am a content creator, I'm say YouTuber. Probably right now I have almost like a 1500 subscribers. Shouldn't supposed to be called myself as a YouTuber. But what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, whoever the people are kind of like a commenting in my content and things like that. Okay, yeah, and they are kind of like giving me or criticize me, I kind of like a simply be gentle and kind of like a take that compliment as a feedback and try to improve myself. Okay, yeah, so this is a way. But if some people are kind of like a simply criticize me for like a like basically is this thing na ki there are so many people, like basically I know there are so many people who are kind of like something in YouTube and things like that. They are kind of like something criticize all the time. Okay, whatever you put, good or right or things like that, I haven't really experienced at the moment. But I'm kind of like telling this thing from other people experience, so what they feel about the criticism and things like that. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, when people actually criticize me regarding about my work and things like that. Okay, and that criticism is really genuine, I take that criticism and try to I try to kind of like a improve myself, or kind of like a somebody improve myself in every possible way, that this mistake shouldn't supposed to be happen or things like that. Okay, yeah, but if the criticism is not really genuine and other people are kind of like simply taking this thing just for kind of like simply my attention and things like that, then I just ignore that thing. Okay, yeah, but regarding about the question says that does it really upset you? um Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's kind of like somebody upset me. Okay, yeah, but it depend on whoever that particular person. All right, yeah, all right, I should supposed to be end here. There are almost like so many questions are remaining, almost like 21 questions are still remaining. So I will gonna continue next artifact episode. Okay, right now I just have to end here. This is it, and thank you.